Charlie here again. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about coping with blindness. And this is something, even if you don't have macular degeneration, you may find this to be helpful. I found, even before I was diagnosed with macula, that I had a lot of trouble looking at menus and so forth. And I remember one time my husband and I went into this one restaurant, and we knew we were going into it. It was a very good restaurant, but it was very dark. And we brought in a couple of big flashlights, the big tall ones, and we were using them because that's what we had in the house, and we were using them to read the menu, and people came over and said, "Can we borrow those?" And we all laughed, and my husband was a card, and he used to say all kinds of funny things, so he would actually went around to the people in the restaurant with his flashlight. He says, "I will loan this to you for just a small amount of money." And we just had the whole restaurant laughing. It's a wonderful memory. But anyway, there are a lot of different flashlights on the market. Here's a great big one. And I'm not going to flash the light directly at the camera because I found out it turns off my phone. And then I don't have a way to talk to you. I have to start over. But this one is a big one. And it's got a bunch of LED lights here. And it's got an LED light here. And you can find variations of this, which I have all over my house. And it has a hook, which folds down, and it's lightweight, and it's easy to keep around the house. I keep these hanging on places all around the house so that when I need to, for an example, turn on my thermostat and change the temperature in it one way or the other, I can bring one of these over and just light it up, and I can see it. So this is a light. Here is one that's very, very lightweight. I don't know where my friend got it, but it also has a section here and a little light here. And I can actually read a menu by turning this on and reading a menu. And I don't want to actually point it to the phone because it turned off the video when I was recording before. But this is a wonderful one, and it's even got a hook. If you had a pocket, you could hook it in the pocket. So this is something that you need if you need extra light. There are a lot of different wonderful tools out there. There didn't used to be. This one I got from the Lighthouse for the Blind. This is a magnifier with an actual switch for a light on it. And I have other magnifiers, which I don't seem to have on the table right now, but you can go into Walmart, you can go into any electronic store and pick up LED lights now inexpensively. But I was using this one for the longest time, and everybody would come over here and say, "Oh, Beverly, you're out mining again." Well, this is hands-free, folks, and you can I picked it up at Costco originally, and you can get them online, and even my neighbor has found them online, different types, and has sent them over to me, and they have different brightnesses. And by utilizing it, you can be hands-free while you're doing your work and giving yourself additional light, and all that will make life easier for those of us who are gradually losing our sight. I want to talk for a minute about the lighting in your home. As we began to have problems with our vision, most of us need more and more light, and having a lot of tools is a very big part of that. But it's also very important to have a lot of light in your house, and it's not always inexpensive. And as my macular degeneration progressed, I left a lot of lights on all over my home, and my electric bills were quite high. So my son said to me, "Mom, why don't you switch out some of those incandescent bulbs and go to fluorescent bulbs?" He says, "I switched out every bulb in my house to fluorescent, and I saved about 15 or 20% on my electric bill." So with that in mind, and we're going back a few years ago, I did that too. I took every bulb in my home that I could, because not every bulb was, some of the specialty bulbs that didn't make them in fluorescence. And I switched them out, and I did notice a big difference in my electric bill. I was still using more electricity than some of my neighbors because I would be every so often I get nagged by the electric company. "You use 15 or 20% more of electricity than your neighbors." Well, yeah, I do, but I don't think my neighbors are blind, and I am. I need that extra light. So I liked the fluorescent bulbs, but then the LEDs started coming in, and as I showed you, with the lights that I use, they're really powerful for little tiny bulbs. But when they first came in, they didn't have a lot of variety, and they were just absolutely ridiculously expensive. Is the right way to put it. The first time I went out to get an LED bulb, I said, "You got to be kidding me! They want $7 for one bulb?" We're going back when we used to get 4 for $1. So it was a little bit hard to take, and I kind of was a little resistant to putting a lot of LEDs into my home. But as I would say the last 6 months to a year, not only have the price of LED bulbs gone down, but the usage for the LED bulbs, in other words, the different types of bulbs that they offer, has gone up. There is a tremendous amount of variety, and I will bet that if I look around, I'll be able to take the bulbs that are in my overhead fixtures in my hallway, which are like the little tulip bulbs. I will bet you I can find those now, because I'm finding everything. This behind me is a 3-way, and they didn't have that a year ago. But when I was in Home Depot the other day, they had 3-way bulbs. I have dimmable bulbs in my above here in my lights in my kitchen. I have a kitchen fan with dimmable bulbs. My fluorescents were not dimmable. These are. And so I'm very impressed with the lighting. I'm also very impressed with the fact that they give you options on the type of bulbs you need. There's a cool light. There's a daylight. I think they're even getting the mood light type bulbs, which they didn't have before. And the prices have dropped dramatically. And not this time, but the time before this, when I went in to buy the LEDs for my kitchen light, I said, "Wow, these prices have really gone down. What's going on?" And they said, "Well, the government came in, and they insisted that the incandescent lights have to leave. And although fluorescent was the only alternative, they are moving to LED lights. Because let's face it, the fluorescent bulbs are scary. If one breaks, there's toxic gas in there. That's how it lights itself. If you have the fluorescent bulbs, folks, you have to recycle those. You're not supposed to throw them in the trash. For that very reason, the toxic gas that releases in those can actually damage your liver. And if you ever drop one, which I did one day, and I was scared out of my mind, I scurried out of that room. I opened up windows in 3 rooms to make sure that gas dissipated. And stayed off, and that was in my lower level, and stayed out of that lower level. So I think the government realized that if they didn't do something about the fluorescent bulbs, and many people don't even know that they're supposed to be recycled, that they could have a real problem on their hands later on. So as the LEDs came in and they became a little more flexible and a little bit easier to use, the government stepped in and supplemented some of these LED companies like GE and, there's Philips and a few others that do the light bulbs. And they went from like $7 a bulb to like $3 for 2 bulbs, and that was really doable as far as I was concerned. Not to mention the fact that LED lights have more length of life than even the fluorescents. I think there's like 4,000 or 5,000 hours of light in my fan lights. Of course, I haven't done the math, so I'm not sure what that means if I left it on 24/7, how long I would have with them. But having said that, it is really nice to have this kind of light. And I will tell you that my little plant, I have one real plant in my house. It's a Christmas cactus, and I haven't killed it yet. And I had a 3-way daylight bulb in there that was fluorescent, and my little cactus has been kind of limping along. But I have to tell you, when I put in my 3-way light from from Home Depot, this new LED that's a daylight bulb, it must really be a daylight bulb, because my little cactus went from this to this. It was trying to reach for the bulb. Of course, it gets no warmth from that bulb because the LED lights do not have warmth involved with them, which is really, I think, very good for children. It's a very good safety practice. But I just wanted to say that take a look at the LED lights as a source of light for your house, because they are getting better and better, cheaper and cheaper, and they don't have any toxicity in them. So I hope that the things that we talked about in the video today helped you a little bit to say there is some options out there to do more lighting, to not only do your household lighting, but to do the things when you're trying to do close work and have lighted magnifiers and just to magnify and lighten up and brighten up your whole home. So until next time, please take a look at some of my other videos, subscribe, and you will actually get an idea of when the next video comes out. And until next time, I'm Beverly Gale, and I too am coping with blindness.